the Shade Tree Commission of Franklin Township. And let's see, I get to the right page. And at 7:04 p.m., I am going to call the meeting to order in accordance with the Sunshine Law. We have in attendance, just go around and give your names. So Ellen.
Hi, Ellen Thompson.
Arnie.
Arnold Schmidt.
Chris.
Chris Williams.
Chris Williams. Okay. Connor.
Connor Ferretti.
Great. Not in attendance, excused, absent tonight are Robert Kudak, Mary Lauco, and Carol Parker. Our first order of business tonight is a reorg. This is our annual reorg. I have heard that our past slate of officers was myself as chair, Mary Lauco as vice chair, Ellen Thompson as secretary, and I was also the treasurer. I have heard from Mary that she will not be continuing on as vice chair and does not have capacity to take on one of the positions here. I personally would love to step away from chair and become more active in the background and let somebody else run meetings and direct and deal directly with the township. But I am very willing to work on annual reports and any other positions like that, but just to be stepping out of the chair. It's a capacity issue for me. Work has been awful. And I have been working 7 days a week until 10 o'clock at night, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So I really do not want to be chair going forward. But again, I'm quite willing to do a lot of the background work, a lot of the paperwork, et cetera, but I do not have the capacity to reach out to township members and things like that. So that said, I will entertain nominations for chair, vice chair, and secretary. I will volunteer to continue as treasurer, and in the role of treasurer to do those accounting and financial reporting responsibilities.
I'll stay on as secretary.
Okay, Chris, if you're talking, I can't hear you. It looks like your lips are moving.
Did Carol leave us at the Shade Tree Commission?
No, Carol is still on the commission, but she could not be here tonight. She has not expressed an interest. She stepped down from holding a position last year and was not interested in assuming any position.
All right, do you want to be chair?
Not even close.
That leaves what? Me and Ellen?
And Ellen's secretary.
Oh, that leaves me.
I
Okay,
nominate
well,
Chris to be the chair.
I'll be the chair again.
I will second that motion.
Arnie, I
As
nominate Arnie.
continuing chair until you get appointed. So all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, Chris, you're the new chair. Thank you so much. I will be in with you 100% of the way and help with reports and stuff like that. But it really is reaching out to the township, you know, like trying to get a hold of administrator or mayor or something like that. It is really difficult for me to do. So if we can work together in that capacity, it'd be great. Okay.
Is it my responsibility to get a hold of Carl once in a while, or are we going to leave that to Sean?
The Connor is our DPW liaison now, and yeah, and I have well, when we get to that point on the financials, I can kind of go through that, but
Okay.
yeah, we can talk about that.
So does that mean that as of tonight, Chris is running the meeting as of now?
No, I don't have any of that. I didn't print anything out.
Okay.
Sarah, why don't you finish the meeting tonight, and then next meeting, I will do all the paperwork and get the minutes and everything else together and send them out. Now, we
Okay.
have to send, that stuff has to be sent to the township ahead of time, right? So they can put it on the agenda?
Yeah, it's supposed to be. I'm really bad about it. It's supposed to be. Yeah. And like I say, you know what, considering how that's moving forward, then I will consent to be vice chair.
Okay.
And after today, you will run the meetings and deal with the township, and I can handle some of the background stuff, including treasury.
Well, I think that's very nice of you, Sarah, but I think I need to nominate you for vice chair.
I know you do. I know you do.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion?
No.
Seeing none? All in favor of Sarah being vice chair?
Aye.
Aye. Well, congratulate. Nays? Any nays?
Yeah, there you go. Okay. All right. All right. And secretary then. I nominate Ellen to continue as secretary.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
All right. Ellen, congratulations. You continue as secretary.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you.
So let
Did
me
Arnie
just-
second or was that Chris? I'm sorry.
That was, Chris was saying thank you.
Oh, so Arnie seconded. Okay.
Yeah, Arnie seconded. Yep.
And now I'll say congratulations.
Oh, gee, thanks.
Great. All right. Congratulations to everybody. Good. That makes me feel more comfortable.
So the treasurer,
Doesn't make me feel any good.
Yeah, so we need to vote treasurer. We need to vote treasurer, and I said that I would do it, but, so can I nominate myself?
I'll nominate Sarah to be treasurer.
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
Was that an original position? We didn't have that position when I first started.
It's been on there all of last year and the year before.
Okay.
And it was just a difficult one because we've had difficulty getting the financials, but it's going to change because Connor and I are going to work closely together on that. Aren't we, Connor?
so you're taking on
Okay.
2 roles, Sarah?
Yeah. I'll take vice chair, treasurer.
Okay.
So that was Arnie and Chris. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right. So our new slate of officers is Chris Williams, chair, Sarah Malone, vice chair, Sarah Malone, treasurer, and Ellen Thompson, secretary. And and I will continue as vice chair running tonight's meeting. And then Chris will take it on after that.
So I send paperwork or drafts to Chris from this point forward?
Yeah, and copy me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was copying the vice chair on a regular basis, so copy me on anything.
Okay.
Okay. We still need somebody, right, Sarah?
We are still 1 member short. Yes, we are. Do you have someone in your pocket?
No, I was just wondering when Bob was planning on coming back.
February.
Okay.
But we were, even when he returns, we're still 1 person short.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe he wants to be chair.
No, you got it for a year, my dear. You're in it for a year.
Okay.
We'll all survive.
You're in it to win it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll all survive. Okay. Great. So thank you for that. So Secretary's report, minutes of November meeting. I apologize for not getting those out to you until just, I think, yesterday. And I'm sure they were not perfectly clear in everyone's memory since they were from November, and a lot has happened since November. But just to refresh, the only people that can really vote on it is me and Chris and Arnie, because we were the only ones present. So, of course, since I wrote them up, I don't have any questions. So Chris and
Did we have a quorum at the last meeting?
we did.
Yes.
We had, yes, but Mary and Carol were at that meeting.
Gotcha.
tonight, so Yeah.
If we could, before you go to the minutes, just on the reorg, since this might be considered part of the reorg, since Chris brought it up about we're one short. There should be some way for us to advertise on the township's Facebook page and website saying that, there's an opening. Who's interested in trees?
Good. Okay.
Should I
Yes.
contact somebody about that, Sarah? And if it is, who should I contact?
It comes down from Bob Thornlocker. He's the one who appoints us. So he's ultimately the person who gets to decide.
But he's not the one that's going to reach out to people to see who's going to, who might would be interested. Person I think to reach out to would be our IT department, Bob McQueen, and see if he can post something on the web, on our website, and also not the tree commission's website, but the township website, and the township has a Facebook page.
Yeah.
When I left, I got in trouble because I used to go around our liaison. Are we allowed to do that without going through our
No,
liaison?
as chair, I was able to go directly to Bob McQueen and to his IT person, and her name escapes me, but she was really
Starts with a K, I believe.
Yeah, O'Connor.
Why don't you, Sarah, why don't you send me those email addresses?
Yes.
So I'll introduce myself and request that he do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I was on another meeting, Zoom or WebEx this morning with Bob McQueen, and he had his secondary, and I can't think of her name right now, but I believe it starts with a K.
She's really sweet, very helpful. Really, I was working with her trying to get the website stuff started to clean up, and I'm sorry, I just don't have that in front of me. And like I said, there's been a lot that's been going on, and my short-term memory is.
Is it going to be on the township website? Probably will be, her name.
Yeah, no, I'll get it for you. I've got it. I have it somewhere, and I will send that to you after the meeting.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. And what I'll do probably, Chris, is I can send an email to the IT department, the people there, and say that I'm stepping down as chair, assuming vice chair, and that you're coming in as chair, and that they will deal with you more directly. So.
Okay.
In the loop. Okay. So anything else on the reorg or anything else on numbers? Great. All right. The secretary's report. Let's go back to that. So the minutes of the November meeting. So Arnie and Chris, did you have any questions about those? They were pretty straightforward. It's a very short meeting.
I do not have any questions.
Okay.
Neither do I.
Okay. All right. Then
I
I'll
make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
I'll second that.
Okay, and then the three of us get to vote. So all in favor of approving the minutes as written? Aye.
Yes.
Say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, so they are passed as written. Approved as written. Great. All righty. So treasurer's report.
Sarah, I have her name. It's Krista, Hegedus.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. So I reached out to Connor. I did it very late, so this is a little bit my fault. I don't have all of the details, but I will. Let's see. Can I share my screen? Okay. if this works.
That does work. I see it there. It's,
Looking at the spreadsheet, okay.
I just have to make it bigger and take you out.
Okay. So this is a summary of last year and coming into this year. We have two funds that come under the Shade Tree Commission. We had already reviewed up through 9/28 at the October meeting. And so you can see that the majority that we didn't really have anything from an annual sale because we didn't have one. There will be a reimbursement once it is finally executed for a person Berdarf, who had trees from the prior year's tree sale, did not get them and needed the reimbursement. So that's still in the works, because we know that can take a while. Tree replacements, this is the fund that is paid into the Shade Tree Fund from developers for removal of trees. And then the hazardous tree survey, there was a leftover expense from hiring CME Associates from the prior year. And then planting and maintenance charges, very minimal, some shipping charges, and it looks like a tree was purchased. The things that are highlighted in light blue, I need to get more information about. These are the things that I just found out about this afternoon, and so I will follow up. As treasurer, I'll follow up with Carl about this, and I'll have an explanation at the next meeting as to what this is about. My belief is that because it was an add-in to the account, my belief is that it was a developer, but I'll confirm that. This account down here is a Shade Tree other expenses. So this is the core training for the DPW comes out of that account. Our membership to Shade Tree Federation comes out of that account. And some other things that I'm not quite sure what they are. This is and so this is my what it takes to balance notation here. And again, these things I just found out about, and I will get them clarified for the next meeting. My belief is that it is the membership fees for this next year in Shade Tree Federation. And then I'm not sure what this encumbered $50 is. So at the beginning of this year, we start the year with $209,000 in the tree planting fund, and we have $780 in the Shade Tree Other Expenses Fund, which will obviously be used for training and memberships, etc. So any questions about the financials as I've presented them?
No,
Okay. They do not require action there for information only, so that is that. So any questions? If not, I'll stop sharing the screen.
no, I make a motion, we accept the treasurer's minutes.
They don't
As
require any
We don't-
approval at all. Yeah,
Okay, so, good.
just for information only and to get clarification if we're uncomfortable with an expense there. So, okay, I'll stop sharing. And we should be back to our main screen. And again, thank you, Connor, for helping me get that information. And Connor and I have worked out how I'll get the information in months forward and the clarifications. Okay, so first opening of the meeting to the public. There is no public in attendance. So we'll go on to old business. I have nothing new to report here. As I reported at last month's, at the November meeting, because of COVID and not filing our reports last year in time, we actually ended up being not technically reapproved for membership in the Tree Federation and Tree City USA. It's a technicality though, because once we file, the reports were filed, but too late to be put into the system. And I was assured and have in writing from the state that once we file our reports for 2020, we'll be reinstated as though nothing had happened. So we'll be like 19 years or something like that. Everything will be good again. So I'll be working with Connor this month to get the documents we need to file the annual report. And Connor will give you examples of what we had in years past, et cetera. I will need the documentation for the CEUs like we did before, like we did last time. So it's pretty much a refresh of what we did last fall. And again, I'll send you copies of what I need. Probably this weekend is when I anticipate doing it. And then if you can get it to me by, within 2 weeks, then I can make sure that our report is filed in a timely manner. And then we have a little bit of buffer room to fix any problems. And again, we'll be hopefully, do you know if the DPW is going to be doing any trainings again this year? Can we rely on the DPW for our CEUs?
So, because of COVID, we did all of our bucket truck training this week. So that was our line clearance arborist recertifications. We were supposed to do that back in October, November, but again, I got sick, and then I was out for a little while. Then we couldn't do it. There was a whole. Excuse me. Hold on.
I think he was sitting on a whoopee cushion.
I think he has a puppy, and I think his puppy found a squeaky toy. Is that what it was? Did your dog find a squeaky toy?
Yeah. So,
Does he want to serve on the Shade Tree Commission?
I don't think she'll be very good at it. So with winter and everything else that happened, we unfortunately had to push bucket truck training back. Public Works did go on an alternate schedule. So all of our training is complete for 2020. Unfortunately, it's going to be like 4 to 6 weeks before we get certs in. So as soon as those come in, I'll make copies and I'll get them over to you, whoever's going to need them. And then we will be doing training. We'll be doing CPR training in June, July. And then we will also be doing our recertification. We want to get it done probably around October, November. We don't want to wait till,
Cold weather.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where we're at training wise.
Great. That sounds good. Okay. Let's work together and get that documented as when we can and be in good shape for next year's reporting as well. Okay, any questions from anyone on the commission requirements? Okay, the only other thing that I have is that I do not believe that you all have finished submitting your volunteer hours for 2020 to Mary. Since Mary is no longer taking that information, please send it to me and do it ASAP. I need that to file our annual report. So please, please, please do it before the weekend is out. It's not hard. It really isn't. You can look at the minutes to see how much time you spent in the meeting. I'd add 15 minutes on either side to get yourself prepped, and then I would add, maybe you were good about it, half an hour for reviewing materials. And if you were on any committee where you prepared materials, then you can include that. Reminder that Chris and Arnie, you also can count the time that you put in on your other committees when shade tree or tree general topics were discussed.
Let me ask you this, Sarah. So I spent a lot of time working on documents and speaking to people about the Snyder Farm and the place right next door to it. So I know that can count. But to figure out what days it is, I probably spent 20 hours on it.
Yeah.
Can I just, I can't exactly pinpoint days and times. Can I just sort of fill in 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours? I just don't know if I can say what days it was.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't think that I think it's only listed by month anyway. So in fact, I'm sure it's only listed by month anyway. So just figure out approximately how much time you spent in 1 month versus another and put it down accordingly.
Okay.
As long as you've got like a note or two and, as to what you were doing so that if someone challenged it, you can say, this is what you're working on, that's fine. Help you remember as well as us, so. Okay,
Forgot already.
I'm sure you did. Okay, so let's move on then to number 2 under old business, which is tree plantings, projects, maintenance, and updates. And I think the only thing we really need to discuss here, because we always wait for bud break, there's really nothing to be done about trees when the ground is frozen and you can't get the trucks out. So I think the only thing to really talk about is item B, Grandparents Park, Willow in New Brunswick. I think everybody saw the information that just came out like yesterday saying that the town is stepping away from that park. They are not going to do it. They received too much dissent from the neighborhood about the park. And so the mayor and Galatier, who is it who set it up? Which council member put that forth?
Galatieri.
Galatieri has decided to withdraw it.
So if I could comment on that, and I'm going to take a long way around because I don't know if I reported this a couple of months ago or maybe a couple of meetings ago when environmental people were talking about, well, why can't we plant trees on open space? Why can't we spend money that we have and plant trees all over the town? And it was explained that it can only be on public lands, open space lands, and things like that. That's where the money can be spent. Ted said, "Well, I think I know a couple of places that we can plant them." And I said, "Please send me an email. Let me know where you think we can plant trees that would be good for us to plant trees, and I will pass that on to the Shade Tree Committee." I did not hear from him, and I also said to everybody else on the Environmental Commission, if you all, and they're the ones that brought it up, if you all have places that you want to plant trees that are on public land, open space lands, or wherever, let me know. So I haven't really heard from anybody. I also brought it up at the last open space meeting and said the same thing to them. If you have any places that you think would be desirable to plant trees, let me know. I will pass it on to Shade Tree. Now, this is where it gets to the Grandparents Park. I did read in, I think it was the Franklin Reporter and Advocate today, where he had the article about the park not going forward, and he quoted Ted Chase as saying, well, maybe in the area where all the trees are down, we can plant trees there. We can revitalize that area there. Now, that's I didn't hear Ted say it, but that's what he was quoted as saying in the article. And then I was just on that JFK to DeMott website, and people are talking about how, well, good, the park's not going to be there, so they're not going to destroy all that natural habitat, which is what a lot of the people were saying was going to happen if we had that park. Well, the natural habitat was pretty much, all the trees were pretty much gone except for 2 or 3. So I listened to that whole meeting when about 60 or 70 people came on and were against the park, and I think one person spoke for the park. But most of it, it seemed very strange that these people were against the park for reasons that, some of them might have been okay reasons, but a lot of them were for reasons like, you're going to destroy the habitat. It's too close to the Cedar Grove swim club or whatever it is, and crazy things. But I'm getting off topic. The main topic, yes, thank you. You could have said something. The main topic being that was a suggestion that supposedly Ted said during the council meeting, was to plant trees there.
Okay, so I was going to suggest we take that off the list, but then you are suggesting we leave it on until we find out more from Ted Chase.
I'm sorry, couldn't hear
So-
you.
I
So,
would take that, Sarah, I would take that off the list. They have to, you're not gonna be able to plant a tree there until you clean up the down trees. And
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's gonna be cleaning up any down trees right away. So I
Yeah.
would take it off the list.
Well, I'm saying it can be on the list. It doesn't have to be done now, and it can be presented. I mean, we're not the ones that make the final decision. I'm not sure how that works. Do we make that decision, or is when we're spending money, the council has to make that decision, right? So it would be, we're recommending that trees could be planted there, but it would have to be, the land would have to be cleared first. And that would come out of shade tree money to clear that land, if that's what we want to do. Because
Okay.
even with trees down, that still is a habitat for little creatures of all different kinds. But I haven't really walked the area, so there might be areas that you can plant trees without disturbing habitats, without removing dead trees. I'm not sure exactly, but maybe we as a commission or a committee, a couple of us can go over there and take a look and see if it's something we think is doable.
okay, the thing that's missing, and I need to take a back step. What I did last year and the year before, which I didn't do today, and I apologize for that. Again, it's kind of a reflection of how crazy life has been, is I had prepared a review of what we had accomplished the prior year and where we were in our 5-year plan that we had set forward to go forward with. Now, the difficult part of that is that our 5-year plan has technically ended. We ran through it, and then because of COVID, the state, actually it happened before COVID, the state is in the middle of redoing their guidelines for urban and community forestry plans. And so they grandfathered us in on our existing plan for, I think, 2 more years. So when we talk about doing a particular planting project, outside of replacing street trees when they go down like JFK, or specific park projects like something the DPW is doing where we can, they've done a beautification project, we go in and plant the trees to it. Any more complex, thought out, planned planting projects really need to be part of a long range plan for us, for this committee, for this commission. And we don't have that in place. It's something that we really need to be working on this year, to revisit what we'd said we were going to do. In our 5-year community forestry plan, we had talked about managing woodlots. We talked about a lot of things that were in the future. And this is the time when we've got to go back and revisit that and then come up with a plan. And so it's not going out and looking to see where we could plant trees and then bring it back here for a discussion next month. It's really about going out and looking at where we have a need for what we should be doing and coming back and writing up a plan that we think about and discuss. If it has to require input from other commissions, we send it out to them. So it's kind of like doing our own extension on the community forestry management plan without hiring a consultant to do it for us. And then working within those parameters. That is what we should be doing. That is what the state would like us to be doing. And when they say go on the new plan, that is when we will have a consultant help us formalize that. So I really, there's a lot of need in this township in terms of, really overgrown wooded lots, places where we could plant trees and make it more beautiful. But if we just go out and do it scattershot, I don't think we're going to be effective. And we're also going to have a lot of missed opportunities. So I think take a note of that, Arnie, that's one area that you think we could plant trees. And then I think that we should have a more formal discussion about this where we bring everyone's ideas together of places where we could be doing things and develop a new plan for this year of where we want to go. Again, it should be a very thoughtful process. If you recall, it took us almost a whole year to write our 5-year plan, and we had a consultant helping us. So,
Well, I'm just saying that this wasn't my idea.
right.
I don't want to take credit for it, or just the opposite, however you want to say it, but I'm just reporting what I read that Ted Chase said, that's as a possibility.
Okay.
I haven't spoken to Ted since then.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
This similar issues to this come up repeatedly, like, oh, what are we going to do about Memorial Forest or the Catalpa Park? And people are it's always nobody wants anything developed adjacent to their properties. They, that they said that the Willow Avenue property was habitat, as though it were some sort of valuable habitat, without really knowing what's in there, whether trees were blown over because they were ash trees that were going to die anyway, whether that's flooded. There's no real understanding. There's not an environmental assessment of the various open space properties in the township, at least as far as I understand. I mean, the township seems to be very good at acquiring open space, but then not knowing how to go about coming up with plans for what to do with them, short of getting an environmental firm in to do a formal park or something. And unless that is part of the equation, I don't see how we can come up with a plan for any property, because it's not our property, right? It's open township open space property. And unless it's understood what the true environmental conditions are there, you can't even make an informed decision about what to plant where.
Well, go ahead, Chris.
There are wetland maps that we're able to provide. So, based on wet areas and dry areas, you can assess what trees can be planted there. So, it's just doing a little research, and it's all available online. But we're not saying we're going to plant any trees anywhere right now, are we?
No, because we don't have a formal plan to do that.
That's what we need. You want to create a formal plan to do that.
We need to revisit the plan that we already have in place and look at what we said we were going to be doing beyond that first 5 years, and then discuss it amongst ourselves and vote on it and then move forward with it. So I would suggest that maybe at the next meeting, we review that. Chris, you and I can talk about it, in the meantime, and figure out how to approach it for the meeting. I have all those documents, and we can figure out what's needed for further discussion.
Okay, Sarah, I like that. We'll put that down for that topic down for further discussion and planning. Okay.
In the meantime, because Grandparents Park Willow in New Brunswick was on here as Grandparents Park, and because it was presented that a new park was in the works, and now it is not, I'm going to take this off of the agenda for next month. And if at some point in time, Ted Chase, Open Space, or somebody proposes a tree planting there, then we can put it back on. But I don't want to keep a placeholder for something we don't have any idea is going to happen.
I agree.
And I do not have any information about any other meeting, any of the other parks. Connor, do you have any updates for us?
I mean, I know the last time I went to a meeting, we were talking about, spring planting. All the parks that I mentioned, in previous meetings, we still definitely do something. One of the problems that I've seen is that last year, no one from Public Works, as far as I know, was able to make it over to the nursery on Elizabeth Ave to pick out trees or to look at anything. So again, I could bring that to management and definitely see if we can make our way over there to do anything.
Okay.
And then also, a lot of our younger trees in Middlebush Park, they need to be taken care of. Maybe as far as replacing, but I think we planted them probably 2 years, maybe even over 2 years, but they still have their alligator bags. Those need to be taken off. Their spikes can be pulled out because I noticed on a couple of the trees, they're starting to grow around the plastic ties that we have, to keep them in place. So we definitely need to get up there and check that out. But again, it's right now because of COVID, we're on scattered crews and we're kind of understaffed right now. So just doing anything right now it's kind of hard. But again, I can always bring this to management's attention and try and keep on them for that.
Yeah, especially trees, I mean, that we spend quite a bit of money and you guys spend a lot of time putting in the ground. To maintain them is a lot easier than going and doing the process all over again. So Middlebush Park was planted in 2018. Inman Park was also planted in 2018. So chances are the trees in that park are in similar condition of outgrowing their stakes and ties. So that would be another one to look at. Naaman Williams Park was completed in 2019. So maybe put that lower on the list of review. But those are the three parks, of course, and JFK Boulevard, where there have been ongoing plantings over the last 3 years. So yeah, it would be really great if those could be a priority for the tree crews. Right.
Just so people know, I have observed that they had cut down 2 trees on Eastern Avenue. They were dead, so they cut them down.
Okay.
So obviously, we need a couple more trees planted here. Someday we'll get trees permanently planted there.
On Easton Ave?
Not Eastern Avenue, JFK, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. You said Easton. All right, JFK. All right. Great. Yep. Ongoing, JFK. Ongoing. All right. Any other questions or concerns about tree plantings, projects, maintenance? Okay. Public information, we'll move on to section 3 under old business, public information, education, events, community outreach projects. I have nothing new to report here. I have not heard anything from the state about Arbor Day 2021. My gut is that they're going to do like they did last year and not require us to hold a public tree planting or public event of any kind. COVID is still too much to the fore. And we already agreed a couple meetings ago to not do any tree sale this year. So we're really just in the territory of PSAs on the website about tree care and maintenance in the township. And if we do any planting projects, obviously to raise the bar about that. And I am still chipping away at some website redos that didn't get a lot of that done over the break. So any questions on that? Okay. Initiatives. We have 3 initiatives on the agenda from last month or from the last time we met. Land guidelines for development. I think those are still chipping along. I don't think there's been a lot done on that. Is that true? Yeah, because I think Carol was gone a lot. So that's kind of out there still. And I don't think we have any update on the Green Roof Initiative. Isn't that waiting? I think I had in the notes that was waiting for stormwater management plan in March. So we won't have anything more about that until after the stormwater management plan is reworked, because it will include something about a Green Roof Initiative. And proposed developments with tree impacts. I have not heard of anything new. Has anybody else? Okay. So nothing there. Any questions?
No.
Concerns? Okay. So we have a member of the public. So our next thing is new business, the second opening of the meeting to the public, and we have a person.
Do we have any new business? Because I have a question for Arnie.
Oh, all right. Well,
I saw they were gonna take a bunch of trees down on, what is it, Demont Lane to put in a solar farm? Is that before your board, Arnie?
That's the first I've heard of it.
God, yeah, I heard
We're
that.
on, all the way down by Easton Avenue?
Yes.
Yeah, we've reviewed that plan and we've made comments about it, there's another area, adjacent area where they could, there were no trees on, that they could possibly put solar there, that they could put solar in their parking lot, but to do as much as possible to avoid taking down those trees.
Thank you, Arnie, because I was quite sad when I heard what they were planning to do.
Yeah, that's at that, I don't know if it's a nursing home or whatever that building is in that area there. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, we made those comments.
okay. Anything
Okay.
else?
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a member of the public present. Let me see if I can figure out how to unmute. All right.
Make a motion to open to the public.
Second that motion?
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the meeting is open to the public. Stephen Gillooly, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Hey, thank you very much for allowing me to speak. By the way, I'm a big fan of your committee. I buy my trees from you guys every year. I'm disappointed that they can't do it this year. I had to take down an ugly old wild cherry tree in the backyard, and I was looking forward to replacing it with something nice. So I'll have to wait till next year.
Yeah, sorry.
But that's okay.
That ugly old- Can I say something? That ugly old wild cherry tree supports a lot of insects and butterflies. That's all I'll say.
Well, yeah, no, it was diseased. It was hanging over a fence. So I wanted to, actually, I had Bob Hudak come out and take a look at it a couple of years ago. I wanted to replace it with something nice and a little bit more sturdy. But actually, I'm glad you guys mentioned the cutting of the trees. It's actually the Stein Assisted Living that's right behind my house that's going to cut them down. So I don't know if you guys know, when you go around the bend on Demont Lane, they're going to clear cut everything between the nursing home and the driveway to the assisted living and put in a ground-based array of solar panels on metal racks. It'll be about an acre. They're going to clear 310 trees, including, I think, 80 that were over 16 inches in diameter. And so, as you can imagine, that'll just be hideously ugly, number one. Number two, it's not necessary because they can put it over in the parking lots and all the rest. It's coming up at the zoning board on February 4th. But what I was wondering is, I saw that the committee responds to those development requests, and forgive my ignorance, because I'm a typical member of the public, meaning I don't sit in on all of your committee meetings, and I don't know, and I don't see all the stuff you do for all the years that I'm not paying attention. And then one thing pops up, so I focus in. So let me apologize for being that guy for a minute. But is there anything more strong that we can do from a tree and public space perspective to talk to a developer like that and say, we understand you're running a business. We understand you want to put in solar. And in general, that's a great idea. But there are ways you can do it without wiping out basically an acre of trees, mature old trees. And it's not the most beautiful trees, but still, it's an acre of trees. And
Yeah.
how do we get our voice back to those kind of developers to let them know that we care about this stuff as a town?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, Stephen, and unfortunately, it's not one that the Shade Tree Commission can get involved in. We don't have review authority or even review privileges of development proposals that come before the township. That is up to the Environmental Commission and sometimes with open space, but it's planning and zoning. And I think Arnie and Chris could speak more clearly to that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. What is your name?
Steve Gillooly. I live right around the corner on Magnolia.
Yeah, Steve, I don't know if you heard my comment just before you came on about that the Environmental Commission does review plans, and we did make comments about that site. I believe the comments were, there's also an open area there. It's sort of like a field area, if I recall. If we're talking about the same site where they could be putting the solar panels there, or some of them at least, not have to take down as many trees, but also they could put them over, in the parking lot. Makes for a nice cover for cars, so that when it snows, they don't get snowed on. We make those recommendations, and that's all it is a recommendation. And if the zoning board or planning board, whoever it goes in front of, that I guess they make the final decision. I don't know if it's they make a recommendation to the council and the council makes the decision, or if the zoning or planning board makes the final decision. But one thing that you can do is you can go to, whenever they're going to review it, somebody said they're being reviewed on February 4th at one of those boards, is go to the zoning board and the planning board. Now, one of the things that we've done on environmental is there are two resolutions. One was a proclamation that the council did, and I think it was 2016 or 17, that talked about the tree, it came from us, but the information came from us, but the council, the proclamation came from them about how we want to increase the tree canopy in Franklin Township. By doing something like this, you're decreasing the tree canopy. So whenever there's a situation like this, we send that proclamation with our comments to the zoning board and the planning board. There was another resolution by the council, again, either 2016, 17, or 18, I'm not sure exactly when, that talks about climate change and how mature trees help absorb all different things that are bad for, that we need those trees to resist climate change. And those are two documents that every time somebody's going to cut down trees, with our comments, we're sending those to the planning board, the zoning board, and whoever's going to make these decisions, to let them know, look, the council doesn't want us cutting down all these trees. It's against the township's, basically the council's policies, their desires. So we try and push that onto the planning and zoning board to hopefully let that be a part of their decision making. But then they're going to decide what they're going to decide. None of us on these volunteer committees have the authority to say no. I think it's the planning board, the zoning board that have that authority to decide whether they can do something or not. Usually, a lot of times when these developers want to do something like this, they need variances to do something. And that's one of the reasons they're going before the planning board or the zoning board. And when they need variances, to me, that's like, well, then we should have leverage, and we can say, well, if you want that variance, then you need to do this. You need to put your solar panels here or put them there. It's not as simple as I'm making it, but that's the way I look at it.
And to reinforce the point, though, in terms of who wanted to speak to this group, is that this is not the group. Our mission is to promote conservation and stewardship of trees throughout the township, but we don't have any authority in terms of reviewing plans or materials. That really is, like Arnie said, the Environmental Commission can do that. You can go to their meetings and have input. Or you can go to the planning and zoning board meetings where there's a lot more that happens. Anything that you told us about that is really, it's not going to go anywhere or do anything through the Shade Tree Commission, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. No, I understand, and thank you very much. But as I said, this group, and I hope you guys know, you're one of the most effective groups in our town. The number of trees that we've planted, the ones along JFK, I mean, I've lived here my whole life. you guys make a visible impact, a positive visible impact on our town. It's great.
Thank you. Hey, Stephen, do you have any capacity in your life? We need another member.
You beat me to it, Sarah.
I do want to get involved in the town, and I don't want to get involved in things that are like super controversial. And this sounds like a great idea. That who's opposed to planting some trees?
I like that. Stephen, for our minute records, can we have your address, please?
Sure. It's 24 Magnolia Road.
Okay. And may I have your email address, and I'll contact you about potentially joining our Shade Tree Commission?
Sure. It's SP as in Paul, and then my last name, GILLOOLY at gmail.com.
At Gmail?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, thanks a lot for listening.
Yeah, we just meet once a month, fourth Thursday of the month, except for November when it's the third Thursday, and we do not meet in December. So it's not a big lift, but we do good, and we'd love another tree champion to join our efforts.
Fantastic. Thanks.
All right. Well, thank you for coming to our meeting tonight, and good luck with your further pursuit of keeping those trees down on Easton. So.
There you go. I'm hoping that we can turn some of the, honestly, I'm hoping we can turn some of the energy that we've seen in the town, like you were discussing the Willow Avenue Park and all that. If we can turn some of that energy into positive, yes, we like our trees, we like our environment, let's plant more, that would be the win. Not so much the negative, I don't want whatever,
Yeah.
Not criticizing the people who are negative about it. They felt very passionate, but I want to take them and say, okay, guys, you love trees that much? Come with us in April and we'll plant some, around South Middlebush Road or wherever.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight, Stephen. Appreciate it.
By the way, Steve, I'm your neighbor. I live at 20 Magnolia Road.
I know. I wave to you all the time. I see you in church too.
When we used to go to church.
I was going to say, yeah, back in those days, you remember? I'm slowly replanting all the trees in my backyard that were cut down by previous owners.
Don't you have a pool in your backyard?
Yeah, there used to be big trees all around it, and the previous owner just absolutely clear cut the backyard. So one at a time, I'm putting them all back.
Okay. Leaves on the pool that don't mix. That's all I'll say.
Not too close to the pool, though.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
All right. Okay.
I'll make a motion. We close the public speaking session.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Meeting is closed to the public. We do not have a dendrology session tonight. Does anyone have any other things they need to discuss?
No, I'll make a motion. We close the meeting out.
I have a question. So I remember when we had our dendrologist, is there nothing in the shade tree rules that says we have to have a dendrologist?
No, we don't.
Okay.
We don't. And
That's
I
all.
was going to take it off the agenda like 2 years ago when we stopped doing that, but I got pushed back. I can't remember who pushed back on it, but saying maybe we would leave it on just in case. So
It looks good.
it does look good. It does look good. And maybe someday we'll come up with some, little self-education program where we can do dendrology again. So so no dendrology tonight. It's the middle of winter. There's really not a lot to talk about.
Maybe in February.
Maybe further.
How about
All right, so Chris is
maybe in April?
April, yeah, when the buds break.
Yes.
All right, so Chris has a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Ellen seconds. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the meeting is closed at 8:03. Thanks for coming, you guys. It's good to see you. Happy New Year. Be well. And